symbolic. Saturday is the day of the Prophet, in which there is ziyarat of the Prophet that we recite. Sunday is the day of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. Friday is the day of Imam Zaman. Every day belongs to one Imam, and there is a ziyarat in Mafati that you recite for that day. Because there was a man who was going on a street and something bad happened, and he said, oh, Tuesday is a bad omen. It's nahas. Tuesday is bad omen. It's bad. Our seventh Imam was passing by, and he said, don't say that. Because every day is symbolized with an Imam. There's no such thing as nahas. There's no such thing as bad omen. The Quran, in the story of Musa and Fir'aun, it clearly points out to. Fir'aun says to his people, to the Coptics, Musa is nahas. The problem that we are facing, the plague and the problem that we have is because Musa is among us, that's why we are having problem here. Then the ayah comes and it says, there's no such thing as nahas. So therefore, prayers and leaving of the soul, meeting of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is quite close related to that. Our salat and death is very closely related to that. So when a person have that ishtiyaq, have that hunger and wants to pray and wants to connect to God, for that hour, فَتَمَنَّوُا الْمَوْتَ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. He doesn't really care. And for him, as we have recited, death becomes sweeter than honey. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. One little thing, and then we'll move towards Masail. See, as soon as we have said that there is consensus by all the scholars in regards to that when the hour of death comes, the Masumeen attends to that person, to that mu'min who is about to die. Leaving that thing aside, in regards to mu'min, he will recognize Amir al-Mu'minin or he will not recognize Amir al-Mu'minin. There's a hadith which says that every soul that leaves this world, Amir al-Mu'minin is present there. Now it depends, I recognize Amir al-Mu'minin and I would go towards him. Or if he's a Nasibi, he hates and he doesn't want to go towards Amir because he's a Nasibi. Nasibi meaning those people who curse Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And they are, and we see, for example, all this Syria and what's happening, this massacre of the Shias and the people there, because they are all Nasibi. They really hate Ahl Bayt. So now this thing here, when the soul is about to depart, Ahl Bayt arrives. They come to attend. And they will be witnessing the Jamal, the faces of Masumeen alayhi salam. And they will yearn and they would love to go towards them. And that will not give them any pain. However, because it's so dreadful, there's so many things happening here. It's not easy. It's a journey. It's a journey from this material world to the immaterial world. When a person travels from point A to point B in the material world, he has jet lag. He becomes tired. We are talking about leaving this material world to the immaterial world. So obviously, there's a great deal of complexity involved here, tiredness involved here. And not only the Ahl Bayt, but even the loved ones will attend and will come. And this is for everybody, huh? I mean, there's an organization called NDE in America, Near Death Experience. In every hospital they have a shobe, they have a room, and they record how and what happens to the person, to the people who are dying. And all of them have a very similar explanation. If you read the records, it says that we saw the Pope, we saw the light and the tunnel, and we saw the doctors who were operating on our body and we were up there. We saw our loved ones, but at the same time, when we saw our loved ones, they were speaking to each other, but we don't know what they were talking about. It was a different language or something. It doesn't make sense to us. It is exactly the same when you see a little child who is just born. Oh, you are my mother, you are my father, you are laughing. The child doesn't know what we are speaking and what we are doing. There is a strange place here. So the transformation of our soul into barzakh is kind of like that. When we enter that realm, we see people there, just like how a baby is looking at these father and mother and cannot relate much, cannot make sense in terms of color. What is color for that fetus, for that baby who is in the womb of the mother? What is light? What is color? What is red? What is green? But how beautiful it is, and how big it is, how great it is, how merciful it is, how great it is compared to the belly of the mother. In the same fashion, when a soul enters into the realm of barzakh, that's what it is. It's a completely new creation. It's a different creation altogether. And at the same time, it says that when it enters there, the respite is given. They say, okay, now the time is that the soul should rest a bit, and then we will meet with them, and then we will influx them, so that this good soul which have arrived after this long journey requires that bit of resting period. After the soul rested, then they are accompanied with their loved ones, who are in barzakh, and we will look at those people who are the enemies and who enters, that realm of barzakh, and in what state they are, inshallah, tomorrow, in what state they are and why they are in that state, and what happens of them in regards to this journey, where do they fit in, because in the angels who are taking the soul, they are responsible of placing this soul in this proper place which they belong to. If they don't place in that proper place, they will not progress. It will become a sort of an azab. Like, for example, if you bring someone who is in the nightclub and you put him at Maulana's speech here, sit down here, is azab for him. It doesn't fit in. He doesn't fit in here. In the same fashion, when the soul leaves that world, it has to be placed in its proper place. And that all is done, this mechanism and this thing is all worked by the angels. فَالْمُدَبِّرَاتِ أَمْرًا. They are angels who fulfill the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and place them in the right place so that they could continue this refining process, so that they continue this journey إِنَّكَ كَادِمٌ رَبِّكَ كَدْحًا فَمُلَاقِي, for that to take place. And this journey, like we said, has another journey, which is the journey in this world. And the journey of Karbala was something of this accord, of that meeting, of that liqa'ullah to take place in the best way possible. Ash-shaheed yanzur ila wajhillah. When the shaheed is about to die, he's looking at the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what has been mentioned. The best death is the death of martyrdom, as it has been mentioned. A true martyrdom. Not these people who, tie themselves up in the name of Islam and blow innocent people. That's terrorism. Islam doesn't allow that. It's completely against the Quran what they are doing. It's immoral. To the extent, I was speaking to a brother this morning, that if you go, I don't know if still it's in the YouTube or not, in Saudi Arabia, there's auction of terrorist bombers that they will go and bomb in Syria. One of the fathers sold his son for $200,000. They'll say this is Shahadat and this is Islam. Where the Quran is saying that if you kill one innocent soul, not one innocent Muslim, it's in its own place, that it is as if you are taking the life of humanity. Look at that maktab, that school of thought, and look at the school of thought of Abdullah Hussain alayhi salam. Or look at the philosophy and logic of Amirul Mu'mineen when he is in that battle, where he wounds people, he doesn't eradicate or uproot people or kill people completely if he sees the light of guidance in his lineage. And this is part and parcel of creation. Curse, lanat, killing, azab. Always, Nuh alayhi salam, Prophet Nuh, he makes dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the amount of persecution that Nuh went through. And if you look at the style of dialogue that the Nuh have with his people, the eloquency, how lenient he is in his speech, how much he cries to guide people. At the end, what does he do? He said, do not leave them, do not spare them, even single one of them. They are the polytheists. So this is part and parcel of human creation. In every faith you find this aspect. However, at the same time, this very aspect have a deeper meaning, which we really don't really want to get into that mystical meaning, which is mercy in itself, which is Rahman in itself. But this journey is also the journey of Karbala that we see. On the second night, Abu Abdullah Hussain alayhi salam wanted to go towards Kufa. He was stopped by Hur, as we were talking about last night. And he was stopped by Hur, and later on, after the sermon, after the prayers which we talked about, he mounted the horse again and he wants to move towards Kufa, but the horse wasn't moving. They changed the mount, they brought a different horse, but still it wasn't moving. Then Imam Hussein inquired that, what is this place that we are at present now? He says it's called Taf. It's one of the cities. Then Imam says that, is there any other name for this place? He says it's called the bank of Euphrates, Sahel Furat. Then he says there's another name. He says this place is called Karbala. Then here Imam says, A'udhu min karb wa bala. I seek refuge in the sorrow, which means karb, and the bala, which is the chastisement. And then here, he gets down from the horse and he points out to, this is where we're going to camp. This is where our tents will be. This is the battleground. This is where our bloods will flow. Our heads will be decapitated. This is where we will be buried. And he mentions to his ashab that I was returning after Siffin with my father. And we camped in a desert, in a wilderness. And there my father put his head in the lap of my elder brother Hassan Mushtaba, and he slept for a little while. And all of a sudden he wakes up. And he says when he woke up, he recited Inna Lillah wa Inna Ilayhi Raji'un. And he said that I saw my son Hussein. They inquired that, why father? Why are you reciting this? Inna Lillah wa Inna Ilayhi Raji'un. It's recited when there is musibat, when there is trouble. So why are you reciting this, father? Then Amir al-Mu'mineen said, I had a vision. I had that vision in which I saw that it will be this land in which Hussein will be soaked in blood. And then he inquires, oh Hussein, what you will do when this will happen? Then Imam Hussein replied that I will endure patience in this hour. So it was this Karbala where Imam Hussein a.s. got down and camped. And it was really this Karbala from where he wrote a letter to Habib ibn Mazahir. Habib ibn Mazahir, his poetry was just recited today. Allah bless the person who recited it. Habib ibn Mazahir was one of the closest friends to Imam Hussein a.s. right from that childhood. And Habib ibn Mazahir was someone, the staff, the bearer, the alam of Habib ibn Mazahir was kept aside. Everybody used to inquire that, who is this staff for? Who is this alam for? This standard bearer for? Then Imam Hussein would say, the owner of this will come. Imam Hussein wrote a letter to Habib. In this letter, Imam Hussein a.s. mentions in a very beautiful way, how beautifully he writes. I want to read those words that Imam have used here. In this letter, Imam Hussein a.s. when he writes to Habib ibn Mazahir, he says that Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. From Al-Hussein, the son of Ali, to Habib ibn Mazahir, a scholar and a jurist. He addresses Habib ibn Mazahir by pointing out that he was a scholar and a faqih. That was the status of Habib ibn Mazahir. At a very old age, there is an incident which is reported that when the Prophet invited when the father of Habib ibn Mazahir invited the Prophet, Habib was going on top of the roof to see whether Prophet is coming or not. Because when Prophet will come, Hassan and Hussein will come as well. They were friends. And in this instance, it's been reported that Habib fell from the stairs and he died. And he was put in a chamber, and Prophet arrives, and the father of Habib did not inform the Prophet because he did not want to spoil the honor of not having dinner with the Prophet. He wanted to be with the Prophet. He did not inform the Prophet that Prophet will not eat now. So here Hussein inquires that, where is Habib? Where is my friend? Why is he not coming? The father wasn't saying anything. And finally Hussein, he went inside the room and he came out with Habib. This is nothing but that miracle of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. That he came out and the father said Habib had fallen and he died. And that's why I put him in that chamber and I wasn't informing you. I was ashamed that I'd want to have the honor with you. And here Habib was waiting for Hussein, and now Hussein is waiting for Habib. And that is why he says here, he says, this is from Ali ibn al-Hussein to a scholar and a jurist. Oh Habib, you are aware of my relationship to the Messenger of Allah and know me better than others. Oh Habib, you know me better than others. You are a man of integrity and a free man. This movement of Imam Hussein was for freedom. We talked about Hur last night. Don't hold yourself back from coming to my assistance. May the Messenger of Allah reward you on the Day of Judgment. This was the letter sent to Habib, and as soon as he received this letter, he goes to Hani, which was another companion. And Hani was about to dye his hair. He was an old man. And as soon as he hears that, Hani says, he throws the color that he has bought, the henna that he has bought to color his hair. He said, Mawla, our master is asking us to come and aid and help us. Vow unto us that if we do not go and assist. So they went and they joined Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And in this old age, it's been mentioned that when Habib went into the battlefield and he fought so furiously, while being a scholar, while being a jurist, and when that time comes, when that hour comes, when he's about to fall from that mount, he says, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Indeed, salam, as we said, this salam is an amanat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only for Hussein. And every shaheed who have fallen, he has said, Assalamu alayka Aba Abdullah. The salam, which is the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salam, which means perfection. Salam, which means being away from all limitation. It is for who? It is for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. When it was mentioned the salam, Imam Hussein alayhi salam came to the aid of Habib ibn Mazahir, and he puts the head of Habib, which was soaked in blood, and he cleansed the blood. He cleans the blood, and Habib wants to say something. And as there were other ashab, and Habib says, looks towards Hani, and he says, "Oh Hani, take care of the son of the Prophet. Take care of the son of Fatima al-Zahra." And after which you have line of shuhada, one after the other, that they went into battleground. Even to the extent you have this Christian who have just converted to Islam, whose name was Wahab. And then he seeks permission from Abu Abdullah Hussein to go into the battleground. And the story of Karbala is not only the story of men, but you see women, the support of them, the mothers and the wives and the sisters, how strong they were in support. The mother of Wahab, and what role she played when Wahab, who was newly wedded, and it is so difficult that when you are newly wedded to really depart from the beloved, and he goes into the battleground and he fought and he was in blood, and he comes back to the mother of Wahab and he says, "Oh mother, are you satisfied with me now?" And look at the courage of the mother. He says, "No, you have to sacrifice your life for Hussein." And like it says, every person on the plain of Karbala, they have become Hussein. No wonder we say Hussein, Hussein when we do our matan, when we lament. We cry Hussein so much that, oh Hussein, we want to become Hussein. Hussein Jan, when we say Hussein Jan, our Jan is Hussein. That's the symbolism there. And here Wahab says to the mother, "Are you not satisfied?" The mother says, "Go back." And Wahab goes back again, and he fights, and he was beheaded, and his head was taken and was thrown towards the newly wedded wife, was thrown towards the mother. And the mother of Wahab takes the head of Wahab and throws it back towards the camp of enemies, and says that what is given in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not taken back. Allah. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي ماتم حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين